ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the RLM podcast. I am your host, Eli Detter, and I am so glad that we are finally starting season 3 of the RLM podcast. It's awesome that we've made it this far, and obviously thank you to all the people who have helped me get there, allowed me to interview them, and the people behind the scenes who have helped to develop and grow the podcast. Today in the studio, I am joined by a fellow Hempfield High School attendee, Derek Katch.
Yo, what's good, guys?
Obviously, I believe, I don't remember, was it I who asked you or who requested to be on the podcast?
I think a little bit of both.
Yeah. But yeah, we're here. It's awesome. We're starting off with the first episode of season 3. This is great. Derek, just feel free to introduce yourself.
I'm Derek Katch. I play football and baseball here at the high school, and nothing much really. It just kind of keeps it simple.
Yeah, no need to be complicated at all. Of course, what I want to talk about today is obviously I kind of in the kind of the trailer I kind of said, hey, I want to really focus this season on the importance of keep redesigning ourselves to be more efficient, more productive, more just a better version of ourselves, and what it means to what it means to really change. And that's kind of like I said, the whole premise is about change. It's about positive change in our lives, but you cannot have change unless you have difficulty and challenge. And that's what I really want to focus on, is the challenges we face in life and how those help us grow to become a better person. And you told me that you play a lot. You play a couple sports. Obviously, sports are a great example of challenge and difficulty, because obviously when you start a sport, you're not the greatest at it, and you even those who are great at sports still have difficulties. So do you have any times where first of all, what difficulties have you faced in the sports that you play?
I think last football season, obviously we didn't do as good as we thought we were, but that was pretty tough. And then in baseball, you're supposed to fail 7 out of 10 times when you're hitting, so that's hard. You just gotta stay focused. And I think the biggest thing about changing for the better is you just have to start today. You can't just keep putting it off. You just have to start today and get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I never played soccer or anything. My sport, my quote unquote sport, was track and cross country. Not to say those aren't sports, but I never played a contact sport where where it's a lot more. I think it's almost a lot more physical than track and cross country. Right? Track and cross country, you're running. You're not running into people, right? You're just running. But I definitely agree. I definitely know what it's like to have struggle and challenge in sports or activities that you do. Was there ever a time where you get a lot of times where athletes, they get too, they're involved in a lot of stuff. They're doing a lot of stuff at one time. Say they have, they might have multiple practices in one day, and they're just at someone, they're just like, well, I don't feel like doing that, so I'm not going to. Was there ever a time where you either chose just to not, to go to a practice or not show up to a training or something just because you were tired and didn't feel like it, or was there a time where you did go even though you just absolutely didn't feel like it?
There were times where obviously I didn't want to go, but I feel like having a good family, good parents, they're like, oh yeah, you have to go, and they're kept me on track to for my goals that I set. And I feel like you just have to, when you commit to something, you just got to get it done and you got to go for it.
Absolutely, I totally agree with that. It's a total change. It shows strengths in your mentality when you can recognize. First, you can recognize, hey, I don't really feel like being here, but I know it's going to help me become better, and that's what I really want to achieve. I believe that if you wish to achieve to be better, there is really nothing that you won't do.
Yeah, I feel like you got to make the hard decisions.
Right.
Make it easier later on.
Right. Because if say, I am a person that I've always had big dreams of achieving big. Not always, but recently I've had dreams of achieving big, and I've always believed that if you dream big, you'll achieve big, but you can't just allow yourself just to stop at dreaming. You gotta put in some action.
You gotta put the work in.
Yeah, you can allow your dream. You can keep dreaming. You gotta still work for it.
Yeah.
And I always try to do my best that I am always working for it. I'm always doing something, whether it's boosting the podcast, or whether it's about helping other people, or getting a job and working. Right? I'd be a total hypocrite if I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna be a millionaire, but I'm not gonna get a job.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like you just have to put yourself in the best spot to
Yeah.
succeed.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like I haven't faced struggles and problems. I've absolutely faced that, but I don't. I almost laugh in the face of challenges and difficulties because I know I can overcome it. I know there's no difficulty that'll be placed before me that I can't get past.
Yeah, and once you get past it, I feel like you feel better about yourself and you're like a better person overall once you get
Right.
through it.
Absolutely. I mean, you have to always have the mentality, no matter what situation you're going into, whether it's a new one or one you're familiar with, that one, there's things to learn. You might fail, but you can always have the opportunity to learn.
Yeah,
I always focus on the biggest difference between winning and learning, right? For me, learning is winning.
I'm competitive, so I mean, I don't like to lose, but
right.
but I feel like once you lose, that's where you get better. Because
Right.
once you're winning, I feel like you kind of get like complacent.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great to be competitive. I'm competitive as heck. I want to win. I
But
any
not how it works all the time.
That is so true. Yeah, sometimes you have to accept the fact that you might not win, and it's not always about whether you win or not. It's how you react.
And I feel like even though if you know like you're not gonna win, you still got to go after it.
Oh yeah. If you know you're not going to win, that's even more of an opportunity just to go for it because hey,
Nothing to lose.
right, you got nothing to lose, and you have. I think it's better to have more to gain than you have to lose.
Yeah.
If you get into that unique position in your life where you're like, wow, I literally do not have anything to lose, but I have the whole entire world to gain. Boom, you're there. You're gonna get to where you need to be in life,
Sir.
and that's that's the most important thing. I think that's a goal every person should definitely strive to get to in their life.
Yeah, I think you should always be like chasing for more, but you also have to be like happy like where you're at.
Oh yeah.
Just know that's not where you're gonna end up.
Yeah, everyone, and I don't like generalizing, but I think it's so true. Everyone is so focused on where they could be that they stop actually taking in where they are. Well, they're always like, well, I'm not where I want to be in life. Well, I'm not. Who cares?
Yeah.
The world's not going to stop because you're not in the place you want to be in life. If you're not in the place you want to be in life, figure out how to make that the place you want to be.
Mhm.
Figure out how to don't let your circumstances define you. Define your circumstances. Make it so that you control where you are, how you act. You control all that stuff. I hate when people leave everything up to, oh, well, I just don't feel like being here.
You just have to control you control, and
Yeah,
there's some stuff that it's not up to you.
right. There's so much stuff that's not our job to try and control everything, but we do, and when we do, it almost always messes everything up. It almost always, there's very rarely anything good that truly comes out of trying to control everything.
Yeah, I feel like all it does is just create stress and
Oh yeah.
just try to be like more perfect and stuff, and that's just
yeah.
not how it is.
Everyone wants the perfect solution. Everyone wants the perfect person. Everyone wants the perfect car, the perfect house, the perfect everything.
The perfect timing, to
Perfect
start
life.
something.
There is no such thing as the perfect life. It does not exist. The closest we can get to that is, I mean, like you said, having a family that pushes us when we don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
Having parents that challenge you on every move and like, is this the move you want to make? I have parents like that, and I love them for it.
Yeah.
Right? They're not mean about it.
Like, sometimes in the moment you're like, oh, come on, but then like,
Oh, yeah.
they just want the best.
Oh,
for you,
yeah.
so you're like,
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it might be the most simplest choice too, right? Like, recently I was talking about a car, and it was just like, it's like, hey, I really want to buy this car, and they were like, but just make sure this is the car you want to buy. Make sure you want to make this choice. They weren't saying it was a good choice or a bad choice. They were just they were challenging me and making me think about everything. Is this the car I want to have? Is this car practical? Is this car, is this car right? You have to make sure you think through the decisions that you make and get challenged.
I feel like I struggle with that sometimes. I feel like sometimes I just like act and like don't fully like think through the stuff.
Well, yeah, but that's gonna happen. I mean, that happens to everyone. That happens to me every day. Every day I make a decision. I'm like, after that, I'm like, well, I really should have thought that one through. But you gotta.
That's how you learn.
Right. That's how you grow. I hate when people try And I truly, truly hate it when people try and find people can't. For some reason, people can't be happy with not always having the answer to everything, with not always having the perfect response or the perfect item. Right? We're so worried about that. Oh gosh, this isn't perfect enough for me. It's so selfish. It's so self-centered, and it's something people need to get over. Because in the real world, I mean, that's not going to happen, right?
Yeah, it's just like social media.
Yeah, social media is such a game almost. It's
Highlight reels.
yeah. I mean, and it might even sound hypocritical because I post almost every day. I always do that, but I'm not looking for influence or fame, because that's not fun. All those influencers, barely few of them are really happy with all of it.
Or real.
Yeah, it's just I try to keep it as real as I can, and I hope and I think that's what people respect more than most is people don't realize it, but they want what's real, not what is fabricated and advertised all the time and pushed in front of them. They want what's real, what they can actually see. Like I don't hide who I am. I try not to hide anything of who I am or what I do. I pretty much am like, hey, this is who I am, and I'm proud of it.
I feel like sometimes I fall in that trap. I sometimes feel like I hide who I am.
It happens,
especially on social media, because that's easy to hide.
Right. Social media is the easiest. I mean, it's literally made to create another person, another less satisfied version of you, right? I mean, I'm never satisfied when I see that someone likes my reel. That doesn't make me satisfied. What makes me satisfied is if people use that knowledge and learn from it. I don't, if someone comes up to me and is like, hey, I saw your podcast. I'm like, yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great. Of course, I love that people are listening to my podcast. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But I don't want someone to be like, yeah, listen to your podcast. And be like, oh, okay. Did you like it? Did you learn anything from it? Did you actually glean any information? And it's not like I'm, giving people information. It's while listening, did you start thinking and be like, wow, this is something I could actually learn from. This is something I could actually use in my own life.
Yeah, I feel like this is the first time I ever had conversations like this. I don't just think about it by myself. And
no, I hate when people are like, oh, think about it when you get home. No, think about it right now. Think about it with other people. You are not going to get anywhere if you just sit by yourself and think about it all the time. It's not going to get you anywhere.
And you're able to bounce ideas off each other and make each other better and stuff.
Yeah. That is what this podcast is about. It's not about promoting me. It's not about promoting. Yes, it's kind of about promoting. It's more about promoting the people I bring onto the podcast and showing people, hey, everyone has the capability to have these real conversations with other people, glean real information, learn stuff about themselves, and share that with the world. I mean, that's really kind of my whole plan, my whole thing here. But challenge is what makes us grow. Challenge is what makes us stronger. I want to know what was like with all these sports that you played, all the stuff that the stuff that you do. What do you think was the most powerful challenge that you ever had, and how did you overachieve it? How did you overcome it?
I feel like the most powerful challenge is just consistency.
Oh yeah.
Because obviously some days you're like, all right, let's go, but there's also the days that we talked about earlier where
for sure
you don't want to.
Right.
It's just about sticking to it and knowing where you want to go and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you can't. You have to stay consistent if you really want to ever achieve greatness. You have to stay consistent, but also be willing to grow and change, right? You can't adopt a single thinking or feeling for too long, because what does it start to do? It starts to overtake you. It starts to just encompass you, and that's not what you want. You want to be able to grow and learn. You
also gotta change a little bit while still staying consistent.
Right. You can't. Yes. Change is the most important thing that you can become. It's the most important thing that you can acquire. If you learn to change without losing, like I always say, without losing your authenticity and your integrity, that's a plus. Change is not about. Change isn't going with a group of friends that seems like, oh, don't choose the rich friends. Don't choose the friends that throw their money around. Don't choose the friends that, in a bad way. Don't choose the friends that pretend they are one thing to the public, and then in the other, when people aren't looking their other way.
I feel like you really find out like who your real friends are when
Oh yeah.
when you're like going through stuff.
I like to say, pick friends who will be there when you're successful and when you're failing, because when you have that, when they're willing to be there for both, that's powerful. You don't want the friends that when you're achieving. I had this quote, and I hated that I didn't write it down, but I'm going to try to remember it. I believe I said, you don't want friends that are just circumstantial, right? Because when you're achieving, they're going to try and pick up the scraps that you leave behind. And when you're failing, they'll just show up so they can pick up the pieces of your body and take credit for when you're all back together. No. You want friends that are there for when you fall apart. They're there to help you pick up. And when you're successful, they're not there to pick up the scraps that you leave. They're there to be with you successful. They're there to be successful with you. They're there to help you and help guide you if you need help.
Yeah, like your friends are also there to like keep you accountable.
Yes. I don't want friends that let me do whatever the hell I want. I want friends that challenge, like I said, they challenge my thinking and they challenge what I want to do.
And like care about you in your best interest.
Oh yeah.
They'll tell you if like what you're doing if it's not right, but
yeah. I have friends like that. And I love them for it. They tell me when they're like, yeah, Eli, this idea is not the greatest idea. You should change some things. I was like, yeah, I should. It happened literally to me yesterday. I was recording a video and I was saying, I had some stuff I was saying. It was like, hey, I think you should change it to this so it doesn't sound, so maybe, it just sounds a little better. I was like, I didn't even think about that, and changing it sounded way better. It's just, you have to be willing to, one, be strong in your opinions. If you have an opinion, someone says they think you may, maybe this isn't the right way to put that out, and you're like, well, I think it is, right?
yeah.
Be strong in your opinion. Don't cave immediately when people challenge you.
You just got to be strong in your opinion, but you have to stay like respectful about it.
Right. I mean, that's one thing my parents also say is that, when they challenge me, they always make sure they say, Eli, if you don't agree with us, you don't have to agree with us. But just think about it. Truly think about it, right? And I do, and I'm like, a lot of times I'll think about it, I'm like, dang, they're right.
Yeah.
They were right with that one.
Our parents obviously have way more experience than we have.
And there are some times where I was like, I think my way might work better, and sometimes it has. And that's where, you have to stay confident about your own opinions. If my dad and my parents, my dad always says, if someone can change if say you really want to, say you really want to buy a car, for instance, like I was saying about the car. Say you really want to buy a car. If my parents can convince me I don't want to buy a car, I never wanted to buy a car. I never really wanted it. That's my dad's thing, and it works. If someone can convince you that you don't want to achieve something, or they say you're running a race, and you're like, oh, I know I can win this race. I know I'm gonna win this race. I know I'm gonna get, first or second or third or whatever. And someone can sit in front of you repeatedly saying, no, you're not. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win. And you begin to believe them. You never really believed in yourself.
You failed right there.
Oh yeah, you already failed. You already lost that race. You're already last place. Because you're going into that race now believing you're not gonna win. Guess what? You're not gonna win.
Yeah. Belief is powerful.
Oh hell yeah. Belief, it drives everything, and that's just what I think. I think belief is one of the things that drives almost every action, every choice we ever make. It's because it's powerful.
You like trust your work that you've done.
I mean, yeah, it's faith. I mean, faith is believing in something you can't prove, believing in something that you can't possibly know. But like it works, because when you believe something, you are more inclined to try and make it happen. When you believe something, when you believe you're going to succeed, you're more inclined to try and figure out how you're going to succeed, right? You're like, well, I believe I'm going to succeed. How am I going to succeed? And that's where the power comes in, because if you can truly allow yourself to, if you can allow yourself to believe in yourself, you're going to achieve more. I think that's the simplest way to put it. But at the same time, know and acknowledge the fact that you're not always going to win.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. You got to be fine with, all right, I didn't win, but like, how could I like improve and win next time?
You just have to know, hey, I believe I can win. I want to win, but I won't always win.
Can't dwell in your losses, but
Yes.
also in your wins. Can't celebrate those too much either.
Oh yeah, celebrate with celebrate with gratitude, right? Celebrate with humility. Don't go screaming at the top of your lungs when you win, but be proud of yourself. Absolutely, be proud of yourself. Be proud of what you've accomplished, but keep it down a little. You know, not everyone in the world is going to be as happy as you are that you won. That's just honestly how that works.
Have to stay humble about it.
Yes, because there are people who are waiting for you to get too proud, and they're waiting to just clip you down.
Yeah, they're waiting to see you lose.
Yeah, and the moment you do, they're gonna make fun of you. They're gonna gloat. But if you continue to stay humble, the people who might win instead of you winning, they might be like, hey, dude, respect. I respect your effort. You did great. You know, I won, but dude, you did great. Right? You want their respect. You don't want their. I don't want people to be afraid of me when I win. I don't want people to be, afraid that they'll never win.
Yeah, that's all. I feel like that's part of like staying classy and
Exactly.
humble.
When you win the game, you shake their hand. when you win the competition, you shake their hand. Tomorrow, well, I'm gonna be in a speech contest where I'm giving a speech. I'm gonna be competing against other people, and if I win that speech or if I lose, I'm gonna shake the hand of those people. I'm gonna be like, dude, awesome speech, because I know it's gonna be great, right? I know it's gonna be awesome, and I'm gonna shake their hand. I'm gonna talk to them about stuff. I'm gonna stay in contact with them, right? I think that's the best thing we can do in those situations, right? I mean, you play team sports, right? When you finish a game, you shake the other team's hand. It shows respect. It shows, hey, we both put in effort. Obviously, there can only be one winner.
Yeah, I mean, you always gotta respect your opponents, and
Absolutely, because they're not your enemy.
yeah, and like how you treat people is how you'll get treated back. And
Absolutely.
I feel like you always have to like not necessarily below you, but like you have to treat the people like, I don't want to say below you, but like always with respect, because you never know, like they could get above you and like
Right.
you'll be going to them.
Right. You want to treat the people who. I mean, you can be honest and be like, hey, they're just not as good as me, and that just might be honest. Is that in that regard you are better than them.
And one day they could honestly get better than you. You could get
Yes.
complacent.
Yes, in a heartbeat. That happens every day. It happens all the time, right? I never. I like to be confident. I like to. And some people may be like, oh, you're too confident. You're overconfident. No, I think it's that I carry myself with more confidence than most people would or should, because I know what it took for me to get to where I am. And I know it took me not going through literal hell, but for me literally kind of putting myself through my own type of hell to get to where I am. So I think that's why I think I carry myself with a much more, not cocky, but not overconfident. I'm just very confident in myself. I'm confident in my ability, but I'm always willing to learn. I'm always willing to grow. I'm always willing to change, and I think that's powerful.
So I came on here today because like I'm not used to this, so I just wanted to put myself in like a uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
So.
If you're comfortable, it is time to get uncomfortable. It is time to go outside your comfort zone. I don't remember who I was talking to about the podcast thing, but I was like, I think it's so powerful when I get to literally use, people like you, I've had police officers, principals, I've had pastors on here, I've had so many different people, I've had artists on here, all these different people who have all these different stories, all these different abilities, all these different, they all have different viewpoints on life, and you get to, I'm fortunate that I get to take all those and just use them and help grow. I mean, first I learn more about that person, right? I learn more about you. I learn more about the other people I interview.
Helps you learn about yourself better than
Absolutely, yeah. Because there is no better way to learn about yourself unless you talk to people and learn about them, and they might teach you a thing or two.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely never really have these conversations. All of my stuff's about like nonsense and just having fun.
And it's okay to have fun. I have fun. Like,
Yeah.
no, it's not like I'm all day, all night working, but
Mm-hmm.
I definitely I definitely know, like, I don't go to parties. I don't go to parties. The last time I went to the mall was a couple, like, 2 months ago, right? I don't really go out with friends all the time. I usually stay home and I'm doing homework or I'm playing video games and when I'm playing video games, usually I play video games because I'm thinking. And the best way for me to, like, output
Release
my
it.
energy is,
Yeah.
typing away on the computer, playing video games or something like that. Every time I play the video game, there's like an idea that comes through my head. I'm just thinking about it, and it's awesome. It's great, or I'll talk to people and I'll play video games. I'll have like an hour and a half long conversation with them about their life or my life or something like that, and we'll just play video games during because it's fun. It keeps your mind off of it, and you just talk. We're in a time where these conversations are had. I think they need to be held more.
I feel like they're definitely starting to happen more often
yeah.
as we're getting on.
Oh yeah.
Definitely not happening enough
Yeah, they're not happening enough, but they're happening more.
than like it used to.
Obviously the age of technology is going to keep happening, but I think everyone at some point needs to have a conversation with someone. Whether it's for a half hour, whether it's for an hour, just talk to them and be like, dude, what is our purpose here, right? What are we doing here, right? I don't, like, what is the purpose of all this? What are we trying to achieve? What are we trying to get to? What are we trying to accomplish in our lives? Because if you can't figure it out then, well, I'm not going to get too far.
I feel like everyone has like different goals in life, and
Oh, yeah.
I feel like, but it's pretty consistent that every person just wants like someone who like cares for them and someone.
Oh,
who
yeah.
loves them. It's really,
Yeah.
really all a person needs.
Yeah. I don't think there's anyone in this world who can say they don't want or need somebody to take care of them. Everyone does. Obviously, that's why we have parents. And, when we grow older, that our parents aren't the ones taking care of us. We have loved ones. We have friends. We have, I've got my bros. I've got my boys.
Always have to have the boys.
You gotta have the boys. If you ain't have the boys, you ain't got nothing, bro.
That's true.
Girls, they got their whole sisterhood
Yeah.
going on. They're fine.
Who knows what's going on there?
But we will always have someone there taking care of us, and if there's no one on this world, well, there's always the dude above. But
Yes. And sometimes you gotta take care of someone else. And once you become a parent,
yeah, you can't ever expect that you're not going to be having at some point to take care of somebody else, whether it's emotionally or physically, materially taking care of them.
or even just like the littlest thing of like just saying hi to someone in the hall. Like,
Oh yeah.
just like showing that person like you care about them and like could make their day.
Oh yeah, it changes everything, man. For all those listening, I think the biggest takeaway from this is that you have to be willing to accept challenges in your life. You will never get anywhere in your life unless you are challenged. It's just how life works. But allow yourself to be strong in your opinions. Don't waver from them. Don't allow someone to change them super quickly. Think about it. Think about every decision you're going to make, no matter how big or small. Be willing to change and realize it's fucking go time.
Also, to your decisions part, you make like 1,000 decisions a day. Like decisions you don't even know you're making.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously, they're not all going to be the right one.
Nope.
The perfect decision.
You're going to mess up. A lot of those decisions you are going to mess up. Just got to hope it ain't the ones that have the forever lasting impact on your life. But
It's okay if you mess up on something. You just can't just
oh, yeah.
keep messing up on the same thing. You gotta.
It's about learning. You got to learn. If you're messing up and you ain't learning, well, dude, obviously you ain't learning. But yeah, that's. You can't allow yourself to stay the same. You got to change. When you realize something ain't working, you got to change it.
Be comfortable and uncomfortable.
Yeah, be comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, thank you all for listening. Derek, obviously, thank you for coming on the podcast. We have had a great conversation.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Getting season 3 started off right.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. It's all about change, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, you can find the podcast on multiple different platforms. We're talking on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, many more. You can also find us on Instagram at RLM Podcast, and you can find Derek on Instagram at Derek Katch, I believe.
Yes, sir.
And that's KATCH. So, thank you all for listening, and we hope you have a wonderful day.